Part 3. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 21. Another hour later. The second shadow clone also dissipated. The results of the two shadow clones training in one night were also directly packaged and collected by Ryosuke Yagami. Sleep. Ryosuke Yagami is not going to stay up late anymore today. He has had enough in the past 2 nights and feels sleepy to death the next day after staying up late. Now he finally learned the shadow clone technique. Only fools continue to stay up late. So, after going to the bathroom to wash up, Yagami Ryosuke went directly to bed. This night was the most solid night of sleep that Yagami Ryosuke had after awakening his past life memories. It was around 6 o'clock the next morning. Ryosuke Yagami woke up early. I went to the bathroom, washed my face and brushed my teeth, and then returned to the room. I forgot to test my eye roll yesterday. Yagami Ryosuke muttered in his heart. Then he walked to the mirror in the room, and suddenly a patch of skin popped out around his eyes. Veins popped out. White eyes, open. In the mirror, Yagami Ryosuke's original red eyes suddenly turned into pure white, and his eyes there were veins popping out in the surrounding area, looking ferocious. Is this the Byakugan perspective? Ryosuke Yagami looked around. The wall could no longer block his sight. Byakugan's ability to see through the building allowed him to easily pass through the building and see things on the other side. At the same time, the whole world turned into black and white. Only the color of chakra is extremely bright. So is this the perspective of Byakugan? Ryosuke Yagami smacked his lips, feeling a little disappointed. I thought this clairvoyance ability was really as powerful as the legend says, but it turns out this is just an X-ray. What on earth was I expecting? Ryosuke Yagami brushed it off. Curse. But that's right. If the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan really had that kind of ability, they would have been exterminated long ago, right? After all, there is no shortage of powerful female ninjas in the ninja world. What's more, the wives of those powerful male ninjas, she's also a woman. If the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan really had that level of clairvoyance, I'm afraid these people would have joined forces to wipe out the Hyuga clan long ago. They would never have been able to let the Hyuga clan survive from the Warring States period to the current Ninja Village era. Although the Byakugan's perspective ability did not achieve the effect Yagami Ryosuke wanted, there is nothing to say in other aspects. And because Yagami Ryosuke's Byakugan also increased the observation distance by 200%, his inside eye can see everything within a straight line range of 3 kilometers. And the 200% bonus of purity. Yagami Ryosuke did not realize it. After all, Hinata, whose Byakugan is also pure, has no difference in expression from normal Byakugan. Probably still it's not enough. Or does it require stimulation from some external factors? However, after turning on the Byakugan, Yagami Ryosuke can feel that his immortal body seems to be nourishing these eyes. At this point, Yagami Ryosuke is actually starting to write. When I was in the Rinnegan, I had a similar feeling. However, the nourishing effect was very slight and a very slow process. Ryosuke Yagami guessed that it might be because his immortal body was still in its primary stage. If he could improve it to if it's an intermediate or even high-level immortal body, then maybe both pairs of eyes can evolve to a certain extent. For example, the Sharingan changes from the eternal Mangekyo to the Rinnegan. As for the Byakugan, I don't know if there is no Otsutsuki clan. With chakra, is it possible to evolve into the Tensagen with just a high-level immortal body? Or is it possible, clean eyes? Ryosuke Yagami is not sure either. But his current Sharingan only has double Megatama. It's still early days before Eternal Kaleidoscope. Even if he is nourished by the immortal body, he still has to go from 3 Megatama to an ordinary Kaleidoscope step by step. I just don't know if Mangekyo, who has no blood relatives, can evolve his Sharingan to the Eternal Eye. I can only hope that the immortal body is powerful enough. By the way, I wonder if the Sharingan can also be turned on while the Byakugan is turned on. Looking around with his Byakugan, Yagami Ryusuke saw a lot of interesting pictures. He suddenly had a whim and wanted to try to see if he could activate two eye techniques at the same time. So, Yagami Ryusuke first stopped using the clairvoyance eye and clairvoyance. Observing the surroundings, he looked at the mirror in front of him again, and then tried to open the Sharingan. At this time, the veins on the sides of Yagami Ryusuke's face in the mirror suddenly disappeared, and a pair of pure white eyes, it also turned into the original red. Yagami Ryusuke's eyes were originally red. But compared to the red of the Sharingan, it was slightly lighter, and there was no Megatama. If his hair were white. To be honest, it looks a lot like Tobirama Senju. But Ryusuke Yagami's hair is black, not white. Strange, is it not working? Looking at the eyes that had returned to their original state in the mirror, Ryusuke Yagami couldn't help but feel doubtful. However, Ryusuke Yagami soon discovered that this was not the case. It was not that the two eye techniques did not work. On the contrary, it was precisely because of the two eye techniques. All the pupil techniques have taken effect, so this change has occurred. Probably because no one has ever been able to possess the two pupil techniques of Byakugan and Sharingan in one body, so no one knows how to activate these two pupil techniques at the same time. What will happen to the eyes after the surgery? And now, Yagami Ryusuke, who possesses both kinds of eye skills, has got this answer. With both kinds of eye skills activated at the same time, the eyes will directly return to their normal appearance. No. It should be said. He can freely switch between the three states. In the mirror, Yagami Ryusuke, who understood everything, was doing this at this time. His eyes suddenly turned into double Megatama Sharingan, suddenly it turned into the pure white look of the white eyes, and then turned into the normal red eyes. Switching back and forth, there is no discomfort in the middle. Moreover, the two eye techniques are not mutually exclusive or suppressive. On the contrary, there have been beneficial changes that complement each other. This is something Ryusuke Yagami never thought of. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 22. By the way, let's see if we can copy other people's ninjutsu from a distance. Ryusuke Yagami had a sudden idea, and then glanced at Konoha's number 1 training ground. The number 1 training ground is one of the most popular training grounds for ninjas. Ninjas below the Chunin level are not allowed to enter here. So those who practice here are at least Chunin, and sometimes there are even some official jounin who practice some ninjutsu here. It is about 6:30 in the morning. It is just dawn, but in the training ground number 1, there are already many ninjas practicing. Very hard work. Very good. Ryusuke Yagami sat on the edge of the bed, observing these ninjas in the number 1 training ground with Byakugan's insightful eyes. Most of them are Chunin. There are also a few special jounin. But the official jounin didn't look at any of them. At this time, there happened to be a special jounin standing by a pool practicing water escape ninjutsu. Yagami Ryusuke's eyes immediately locked on this special jounin. Sharingan, copy. The next second, this special one came up. Shinobu's hand seal movements, as well as the flow direction of chakra in the body during the hand seal, were all copied by Ryusuke Yagami using the copying ability of the Sharingan. It really works. Ryusuke Yagami showed a look of ecstasy on his face. In this way, even if he is temporarily unable to enter those advanced training grounds, he can still copy the ninjutsu or taijutsu used by ninjas from a distance through his eyes. Very good. Now my entry attribute that increases the power of ninjutsu tenfold has finally shown its true effect. Ryusuke Yagami was also overjoyed. Although he had learned the shadow clone technique before, the ninjutsu Yagami Ryusuke had at his disposal was limited after all. Just a few. He had learned them all. He didn't have any ninjutsu. The technique can be learned. At that time, maybe I can only develop the raise-non myself, but it is not easy to use. After all, it is difficult to explain how I learned it. Then there will be some trouble. Ryosuke Yagami's current strength is far from enough for him to act recklessly in Konoha. At least he has to wait until he has the strength of the shadow level. And now, Ryosuke Yagami's chakra has only reached the shadow level. But in other aspects, far from enough. Just having more chakra is useless. You have to learn the ninjutsu that can take advantage of this huge chakra to truly turn it into your own strength. Although the ninjutsu I copied on the training ground were all ordinary C-level ninjutsu, they were only some B-level ninjutsu at most. But I have the tenfold increase in talent entries. The power that B-level ninjutsu can exert in my hands is no less effective than S-level ninjutsu. So even if I just learned a bunch of BC level ninjutsu, it would be enough for me. At this time, Ryosuke Yagami also tried a simple hand seal. He did not mobilize the chakra in his body, so he did not release this ninjutsu. It's water escape. Water flow whip, a very practical water escape ninjutsu. Ryosuke Yagami frowned. He found that although he had copied that special joninjutsu, the effect was not very good when used. The reason was because his seal formation speed was too slow. It seems I have to practice more seals. Although a real ninja does not need seals, at least for now, I still need to rely on seals to release these ninjutsu. The speed of 2.5 seals per second is really too slow. Let alone 5 or 6 seals per second, it must at least reach the speed of 4 seals per second, right? Otherwise, a ninjutsu of 6 or 7 seals, it takes 2 or 3 seconds to release. If you are facing a real enemy, it is just like seeking death. As for the seals, Ryosuke Yagami decided that he could practice them secretly in the ninja school in the future. Now words. The most important thing is to copy a few more ninjutsu first. So, Ryosuke Yagami continued to observe these ninjas in training ground number 1 with his insightful eyes. Finally, he found another Chuyunin who was practicing fire escape ninjutsu. Sharinan, copy. Ryosuke Yagami was so pleased that he copied another fire escape ninjutsu. What he copied this time was the famous C-level fire escape ninjutsu, the powerful fireball technique. It's the famous non-killing fire escape. Claims to have never killed anyone. As for why this fire escape ninjutsu, unique to Uchiha, appears in the hands of ninjas who are not from the Uchiha clan? Haha. Are the Uchiha clan still there? Only Uchiha Sasuke and his filial son Itachi are left in the entire family. Naturally, those Uchiha clan's ninjutsu scrolls had been taken away by the village's senior officials. Otherwise, Sasuke wouldn't have been using the fireball jutsu over and over again all day long. But this powerful fireball technique is really easy to use. The main reason is that it is very powerful, not difficult to learn, and consumes less chakra than ordinary C-level ninjutsu. This kind of ninjutsu can be said to be very popular among the majority of Chunin. After all, Chuyunin don't have much chakra. Every battle must be carefully calculated. And ninjutsu like the Go Fireball Jutsu consumes less chakra. Just what they need. Next, Ryosuke Yagami copied another wind escape ninjutsu. Wind escape. Big breakthrough. It is also a very famous C-level wind escape ninjutsu, used by many people. Successfully copied 3 ninjutsu. Ryosuke Yagami has been in a happy mood all morning. Even when I was in class at the ninja school, I would observe the first 3 training grounds from time to time to see if there were more ninjutsu that could be copied. However, there are not many ninjas practicing ninjutsu in the training ground. Most of the ninjutsu practiced are still the same. Therefore, 3 classes in one morning. Ryosuke Yagami only copied a few taijutsu moves. As for ninjutsu, there are still only the 3 in the morning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 23. Sure enough, most of the Chunin in Konoha only know a few ninjutsu over and over again, and the Jounin rarely go to public training grounds to practice. Ryosuke Yagamai had actually been mentally prepared for a long time. So his initial target was actually on the clans of the ninja families. What a pity. It was probably to guard against the Hyuga clan's supercilious eyes. These clans of the ninja families, there are basically independent barriers covering them. Although not the entire tribe is under the warning of the barrier, some key places are basically covered. Therefore, even Ryosuke Yagamai cannot see with his white eyes. Seeing pictures of these places. Although it is a pity, it is not completely impossible. It's not like there are only family ninjas. There are also some civilian jonins in Konoha. At this stage, there are 500 to 600 jonins in Konoha alone. Of course, most of them are family ninjas. And the Sarutobi clan has the largest number of people. There is no way, the Hokage clan. The third generation has been in power for so many years, and it is impossible not to make profits for his family. In addition, such as the Shimura clan, the Tencho clan and the Mito clan, there are also a lot of Jounin. There are even more other middle genin. The so-called Hyuga clan, the first family in Konoha, really can't beat the Sarutobi clan if they really want to fight. In other words, the ninjas of the Hyuga family work all day long. They talk about the title of Konoha's first family, but they don't know that when they were arrogant, the strength of the Sarutobi clan had long surpassed them. And if we say that among the Jounin of Konoha, the family ninja, if it accounts for more than 90%, then the remaining few percent are civilian Jounin. And this does not include people like Heitake Kakashi. Although the Heitake clan is declining, they are still ninjas. Clan. It can't be said that a small number of people means it is not considered a ninja clan, right? You can refer to the Uchiha clan for details. However, Jounin usually have missions and are not in the village all year round. Ryosuke Yagamai wants to monitor those Jounin, therefore, when they perform ninjutsu secretly, it depends on luck. The first is to find someone. The second is that the Jounin happens to be performing ninjutsu within the village. It's hard to say about other ninjutsu, but the teleportation technique should be quite simple. During the lunch break, Yagamai Ryosuke took a lunchbox and went to the rooftop with Ino and the others to have lunch. During the middle time, Yagamai Ryosuke had been using the Byakugan's insight to observe some ninjas within his sight. Soon, I noticed that several Umbu ninjas wearing Umbu uniforms were moving quickly in the village. The direction they were going to was exactly where the Hokage building was. It's an Umbu ninja. Ryosuke Yagamai was secretly happy, and then silently used Sharingan to copy the teleportation technique they performed. Konoha teleportation technique. This is the most common teleportation technique in Konoha. It is said that the second generation Hokage, the improved version, is one of the few ninjutsus of the second Hokage that does not need to be written into the Book of Sealings. As we all know, most of the ninjutsus invented by the second Hokage, except for the water release ninjutsu, will be written into the seals in the book. And this Konoha teleportation technique, it can be regarded as a fish that slipped through the net. But this thing is actually just modified by the second generation Hokage. It is not his proud work. It is not difficult to practice, it's just a level. It's one level higher than the three-body technique. But correspondingly, its universality is very good. Basically, among the ninjas in Konoha, as long as they are Chuunin or above, everyone can do it. If you are a genin. If the teacher in charge is willing to teach you, or you are from the ninja clan, you can also learn it. Because the difficulty is really not high. D-level Konoha teleportation technique, obtained. Ryosuke Yagamai doesn't dislike the popular Konoha teleportation technique. After all, he hasn't learned any teleportation technique yet. Some of them are useful. Why are there so many bad things? Ryusuke, do you taste my octopus balls? Ino, who was sitting next to her, was holding a small octopus ball and handed it to Ryusuke Yagami's lunchbox. Thank you, Ino. Ryusuke Yagami picked it up and took a bite. Well, it tastes great, he said. Really? Ino looked very happy. Then try this flour sausage again. My mother fried it. It's fragrant and crispy and delicious. Well, this is delicious too. Hee hee. I knew we both had similar tastes. Ino, don't always let me eat it yourself. It's okay, Ryusuke, you eat more. I'm a girl, so I eat less. Ino kept putting food into Ryusuke Yagami's lunchbox. She held her chin with her small hand and looked sideways at Ryusuke Yagami eating. Shikamaru, Koji. Shouldn't we come? The two looked at each other and saw a look of helplessness in each other's eyes. Hokage building. In the Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had just finished reviewing some documents, also picked up the cigarette rod and took a puff of cigarette, then picked up a report next to him and took a look at it. Ryusuke Yagami, is he a child born to common people? Unexpectedly, another civilian ninja with good talent appeared. He could come from behind to defeat the descendant of the Uchiha clan, which was regarded as an outstanding talent. The report was sent by the ninja school. It records the current situation of some students who have performed well in the school. As the principal of the ninja school, the third Hokage will always pay attention to the growth of these children to see if any of them have outstanding ninja talents. If there are particularly outstanding children, they will pay more attention to them. When they graduate, better team leaders will be assigned. This can be regarded as a kind of cultivation. After all, these children are the future of the village. And today this report focused on a child named Yagami Ryusuke. What attracted the attention of the third Hokage was that the other party actually defeated Uchiha Sasuke, a descendant of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke Uchiha, really? The talent is still far inferior to Itachi. The third Hokage thought to himself. After all, Uchiha Itachi graduated from the ninja school at the age of 7, passed the Chunin exam on his own at the age of 10 and was promoted to Chunin, and joined the Umbu at the age of 11 and became an outstanding Umbu ninja. Such a resume is second only to Heitake Kakashi. In comparison, Uchiha Sasuke, who is his younger brother, is far behind. There is no comparison at all. People can't help but wonder whether this is a born to parents. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 24. In the Hokage's office. The third Hokage took a few puffs of cigarette and finally put down the report in his hand. It's still too early. If he still performs like this when he graduates, he can be allowed to join Umbu in the future. Just defeated an Uchiha Sasuke. And it didn't seem to be an overwhelming victory. This was obviously not enough to make Sarutobi Hiruzen pay more attention to Yagami Ryusuke. At most, he remembered the name and knew the ninja there is such a student in the school. That's all. At least with the talent Ryusuke Yagami is showing now. It's not worth Hiruzen Sarutobi's investment in him in advance. Hey. Since the Uchiha clan incident, there have been no geniuses in the village, including Itachi and Shisui. What a pity. Sarutobi Hiruzen also felt a little regretful. What he regretted was not that he did not prevent the Uchiha clan from being exterminated. After all, that was what he acquiesced to. What he really regretted was that he did not prevent Danzo in advance and allowed him to kill Shisui. Otherwise, he now has two generals, Shisui and Itachi, under his command. Why worry about the future of the village here? Why bother looking for possible geniuses in the ninja school? All of this is Danzo's fault. When Sarutobi Hiruzen thought of himself, this old friend makes me angry. This guy knows how to cause trouble for himself every day. If it weren't for his past friendship and his old age, he likes to recall the past and allowed him to indulge Danzo's provocations again and again. Otherwise, that guy Danzo would have died countless times. Just say CAO and CAO will be here. As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen thought of Danzo, Danzo opened the door and walked into the Hokage's office. Hiruzen, I heard that the brat from the Uchiha clan was defeated by a commoner. Danzo. Shimura walked in through the door, leaning on a cane, and said angrily, "Humph, I have long said that this Uchiha brat should have been trained by me. Look at what you have trained him to be. He can't even beat a commoner. Danzo, you don't need to question my decision." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at him with a dark face. Also, remember to knock on the door next time you come in. How old are you? You don't even know the rules. However, Shimura Danzo did not take Sarutobi Hiruzen's words seriously at all. He sneered and said, "Hiruzen, it's not too late to hand him over to me now. At least I still have the ability to train this brat of the Uchiha clan. But if he continues to stay in a place where children play house like a ninja school, he will be in trouble in the future. It's destined to be useless." "Here you are," Sarutobi Hiruzen snorted and said, "Danzo, don't think about Uchiha Sasuke. Even if I agree to you, Itachi will not agree. Do you want Itachi to come back and chat with you?" Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Shimura Danzo, whose expression suddenly turned ugly, and couldn't help laughing. He knew it. Uchiha Itachi went to find Shimura Danzo when he left the village. Although he didn't know the two of them clearly. What was said at that time? But Danzo was said to be furious afterwards, which shows that the meeting must not have been pleasant. The unhappy person should undoubtedly be Danzo. Therefore, when he heard Sarutobi Hiruzen mention the name Uchiha Itachi again and threaten him with it, Danzo's face became so ugly. I'm afraid of a mere rebellious brat," Danzo said stiffly. Sarutobi Hiruzen also laughed, not revealing his disguise. "However, since you don't want to, Hiruzen, then forget it," Danzo said, pretending to be generous. In fact, he was worried about the existence of Uchiha Itachi. After all, this filial son would rather kill the entire clan to preserve his brother's ultimate control. He can't be offended. "By the way, how is the Jinchuriki doing lately?" "Hiruzen, I'm not talking about you, he's such a Jinchuriki, look at what you've trained him into. All he does all day long is play some pranks in the village. When the war comes, I'll see how you take him to the battlefield. Why don't you give him to me and let me train him? I guarantee that I can train you a qualified Jinchuriki. How about that?" Danzo gave up the idea of hitting Uchiha Sasuke, but he focused on Uzumaki Naruto, the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. In fact, he had been eyeing the nine-tailed Jinchuriki from a long time ago. It's just that Sarutobi Hiruzen he had never agreed. At this time, he brought up the old matter again just to see Sarutobi Hiruzen's current attitude. "Danzo," Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened, and a pair of slightly cloudy eyes suddenly became sharp as he stared at his old friend in front of him. "Don't think too much about the Jinchuriki. As long as I am still in the position of Hokage, I will never allow him to do so. Do you understand that you interfered in the Jinchuriki's affairs?" Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's stern tone, Danzo's face darkened. "Hiruzen, you will regret it sooner or later. Danzo, take care of yourself, remember. I am the Hokage." "Hot. That's the word again." Danzo's knuckles turned white with anger. He squeezed the cane in his hand tightly, wishing he could hit Hiruzen Sarutobi's old face with it. "Naruto, Hokage, what the hell are you doing? You know how to use the title of Hokage to stimulate me, right? Just wait. Sooner or later, I will sit on the position of Hokage. And at that time, Hiruzen, you will know who is really qualified and capable to sit on this, the person in the position of Hokage." Bang! Danzo closed the door angrily and left angrily. Outside the Hokage building, two root ninjas saw Danzo coming out and quickly followed him. Danzo-sama, didn't Hokage-sama agree to give you the kid from the Uchiha clan to train? A root ninja couldn't help but ask when he saw Danzo's ugly face. This person was also Danzo's confidant. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to ask Danzo, who was very angry at this time. Hiruzen is old and his eyesight is dim, Danzo said coldly. He made no secret of his dissatisfaction with Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage. What about the rest? For example, the civilian genius who defeated Uchiha Sasuke? The root ninja asked. That brat? Danzo snorted coldly, without outstanding bloodline, it is destined to be nothing more than a flash in the pan. Besides, the Uchiha kid was trained by Hiruzen to be such a waste. What does defeating a waste Uchiha mean? Obviously. Danzo didn't even look at Yagami Ryusuke, the civilian genius his subordinates said. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 25. These days, anyone can be called a genius. The division of the Hyuga clan produced a genius named Hyuga Niji. In the current 6th grade graduating class, there is another civilian genius named Kudo Shinichi. In class A of the 3rd grade, there is a female civilian genius named Jingyuji Narumi. But in Danzo's eyes, only people like Uchiha Itachi or Hatake Kakashi are qualified to be called geniuses. The above are considered relatively talented at most, but their upper limit is almost visible to the naked eye. Jounin is basically the limit of these so-called civilian geniuses. With luck, it is possible to reach the heights of an elite Jounin. But so what? Does Danzo lack one or two subordinates with elite Jounin strength? What he lacks is the kind of subordinates who can reach the shadow level. Pity. The only real geniuses that have emerged in the village in recent years are Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Shisui. They are all from the Uchiha clan. Now one of them has burped. A prisoner is out in the village, performing a spy mission. Neither one of them works for me. Danzo felt very sad. However, when he thought that Sarutobi Hiruzen would not be served by these real geniuses, he couldn't help but feel a little pleased. Especially since he was responsible for all this. It's even more fun. What I can't get, Hiruzen can't even think of it. Danzo thought with a sneer in his heart. Ninja school, rooftop. Ryusuke Yagami suddenly sneezed without coming. Strange, why do I feel like someone is scolding me behind my back? He rubbed his nose and thought. Ryusuke, have you ever thought about what you want to do in the future? Shikamaru next to him suddenly lay down and looked at the clouds in the sky. As for me, I just want to live an ordinary life. A busy life like fighting and killing every day is probably not suitable for me. Hearing Shikamaru suddenly mention his future life, Yagami Ryusuke thought for a while and said, if it were me, I would be restless. I prefer a colorful life. If every day is just the same, if so, I would probably get bored of it quickly. Moreover, from the day we became ninjas, our lives can no longer be controlled by ourselves. Shikamaru, if you want to live a carefree and ordinary life, I'm afraid it won't be possible unless you have the ability to say no to anyone. Ryusuke Yagami suddenly laughed. But we are only 10 years old now, so it is a bit too early to say this. At least we can wait until we have graduated. Yes, but if I graduate, it will only be these 2 years. Shikamaru suddenly sighed. He was shocked by what Yagami Ryusuke just said. What he longed for was indeed the kind of ordinary life. This was also the life he wanted since he was younger. Because born in the Nara clan, when Shikamaru was very young, he saw many adults in the family never return after performing certain dangerous missions. This made him instinctively reject that kind of life. As he grew older, big, with Shikamaru's clever mind, he actually knew very well that once he became a ninja, his future life would be beyond his control. And as the eldest son of the Nara clan, there was no way he could become an ordinary person. His future seems to have been doomed from the moment he was born. But this also makes Shikamaru reject all this more and more. Sometimes, he even thinks about abandoning everything now and finding someone with no one. It's a good place to live. What a pity. These are just some rebellious thoughts that come out of him occasionally when he is upset. He will not really do it. The ability to say no to anyone. Shikamaru thought of what Yagami Ryosuke just said, and suddenly had the urge to practice hard. But when he thought about it, even if he practiced harder, his achievements would be almost the same as his father. Even his father did it. Something he couldn't do. He didn't think he could do it. Saying no to anyone may sound simple, but if you really have to do it, it's too difficult. Especially in such a ninja world. Is it difficult? They can still disobey the Hokage's orders. Even if they become Hokage, they still have to obey the daimyo's orders. You can't dream of becoming a daimyo, right? It seems that if you don't have that thing when you are born, you will never have it in your life. Forget it, don't think about it anymore. Shikamaru suddenly felt a little irritable. So he just stopped thinking about it? In fact, it's pretty good to live like this one day at a time. However, Ryosuke's words, does he also want to have that ability? Shikamaru turned his head and glanced at Yagami Ryosuke sitting next to him. Suddenly he felt that his little friend's goal was quite ambitious. So ambitious. There's a high probability that it won't be possible. Ryosuke, class is about to begin, let's go back to the classroom. Ino recruited from a distance, calling Yagami Ryosuke's name. Let's go. Shikamaru stood up, patted the dust on his clothes, and then walked slowly towards the stairs. Behind him, Yagami Ryosuke picked up a piece of Shikamaru's hair from the ground when he stood up. Then he put the creature in the pheromone warehouse. The first class in the afternoon was the theoretical knowledge class that Yagami Ryosuke disliked the most. So he started his work openly. While practicing hand seals under the table, he took out Shikamaru's that and hair, let the system convert them into talent entries. Ding! Conversion successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the talent entry, Swiba, purple. Straight A student? Ryosuke Yagami glanced at Shikamaru. Indeed, Shikamaru is a master of point control. I'm afraid only Shikamaru can transform such talent as a top student. As for others, even Harano Sakura, who ranks first in theoretical scores in the class, it is just because she is diligent enough and studious. To be honest, in class of their 4th grade, Shikamaru is probably the only real top student. Others, if they stand up to the sky, they are fake academic masters. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 26. Academic Master, Purple. Learning knowledge is easy for you. You are immersed in the ocean of knowledge, and all knowledge will become nutrients to help you grow. Learning ability add 1000%. The attributes of this entry are quite simple. Just one learning ability increases tenfold. However, the purple talent entry. Understandable. The previous entry for Princess Byakugan only added up to 400% of the 2 attributes, but the entry for Princess Byakugan comes with the bloodline of the Byakugan and Hyuga clans. This is better than Shikamaru's Scholar Master entry. In terms of pure data, 10 times is obviously better than 4 times. All I can say is that each has its own advantages. Anyway, Ryosuke Yagami really likes the Student Master entry. Learning ability, of course, also includes learning ninjutsu, taijutsu, and illusion. From now on, Ryosuke Yagami will not only be able to use the training plugin of Shadow Clone. You can also get a bonus of 10 times your learning ability. Don't practice too efficiently. Sure enough, the talent entries given by smart people are also related to this aspect. Ryosuke Yagami thought to himself. So far, 4 days after the system has been opened, Ryosuke Yagami has obtained 9 talent entries. 2 of them are purple, and the remaining 7 are all gold. It can be said that the harvest is extremely rich. However, a good thing like this will definitely be difficult to replicate in the future. After all, the media used by Ryosuke Yagami to transform talent entries in the early stage came from important tasks in this world, so the transformed talent entries will naturally relatively outstanding. After all these people have been transformed, Yagami Ryosuke can only settle for the next best thing and target those less important people. In this regard, since the previous 2 days of continuous withdrawals, and one more, there are 3 golden legends. But in the past 2 days, I have only harvested 2 purple talent entries, which can be seen. Good talent entries cannot be opened all the time. Fortunately, talent entries can be upgraded. Although so far, Yagami Ryosuke has not used the upgrade function. But that is because he currently has no talent entries to decompose, and without experience points, he naturally cannot upgrade the existing talent entries. What's more, the purple and gold talent entries article, upgrading is not that easy. Taking the most rubbish white talent entry as an example, upgrading to a green talent entry requires 10 experience points. This is very small. It is so small that it can be ignored. But every upgrade after that, the experience value increases tenfold. When it comes to golden talent entries, if you want to upgrade to a god level talent entry, you need a full 100,000 experience points. Yagami Ryosuke has not decomposed talents yet. Entry: I don't know how much experience points can be gained by decomposing an entry. But thinking about it, this should be linked to the quality of the talent entry being decomposed. The better the talent entry, the more experience points will be obtained by decomposing it. Ryosuke Yagami. Talent entries. Child of Destiny, Gold. You are the beloved child of destiny in the legend, so you can always turn danger into good fortune when facing danger. Luck is always with you when encountering fatal danger. Your strength will be at 500% in all directions. Add 1000 chance that your enemy will be unlucky %. Spirit of Vengeance, Gold. You are an avenger. You are unstoppable on the road to revenge. Your chakra training efficiency is at 1000%, ninjutsu power at 500%. Cursed Eye, Gold. Your eyes are cursed by the world, but the world is ignorant. How can they know your talent? Obtain the Sharingan, with Uchiha bloodline, and the eye opening efficiency is at 1000%, eye power at 500%. Indra's Resentment, Gold. Indra was resentful because of his father's preference for Azura. His resentment in dozens of reincarnations was unmatched, eye power at 500%, Suzanu's size at 500%, the power of the pupil technique is at 500%, chakra at 1000%. King of Mouth Escape, Gold. Your language is naturally convincing. The more heartfelt your views are, the easier it is for others to recognize you. He is the born king of Mouth Escape. Persuasiveness at 3000%. Affinity at 1000%. Incarnation of the Evil Fox, Gold. You are the incarnation of the evil fox in the human world. Your existence makes people around you fear you. Your power is enough to bring disaster to the world. Your existence is a terrible natural disaster. Chakra at 1500%. Ninjutsu power at 500%. Additional ability, perception of good and evil. Azura's kindness, Gold. The kind-hearted Azura always hopes to bring peace to the world with his own hands. His innocence and kindness can infect others, but sometimes it also brings trouble to himself, and a kind heart. His heart also brought him enough power to change the world. Physical fitness at 1000%. Resilience at 1000%. Natural affinity at 1000%. Chakra at 1000%. Comes with a human body. Princess White Eyes, Purple. Pure white eyes make you born with extraordinary potential, and your family will be honored because of you. Please try to develop your eyes, maybe it will bring you unexpected surprises. Byakugan observation distance add 200%. White eye purity add 200%. Comes with Byakugan blood inheritance limit, Hyuga bloodline. Academic master, purple learning knowledge is easy for you. You are immersed in the ocean of knowledge, and all knowledge will become nutrients to help you grow. Learning ability add 1000%. Number of conversions, 0. Biopheromone warehouse, no items. Opening the character panel of the system, Yagami Ryosuke admired his achievements in the past 4 days. In just 4 days, his changes could already be described as earth-shaking. 4 days ago, he was still the second to last 10,000-year fourth grader in the ninja school. Not to mention genin. He couldn't even beat the reserve genin. And 4 days later. Cage level chakra volume. 4 attribute ninjutsu. D level Konoha instantaneous technique. B level shadow clone technique. There are also 6 or 7 taijutsu moves. Together, Ryosuke Yagami is powerful enough to rival some Chuyunin. If the combat experience wasn't too rubbish. Even special jounins are not incapable of being beaten. After all, most special jounin societies don't actually have many ninjutsu skills. What Ryosuke Yagami lacks compared to special jounin is just combat experience. Unknowingly, am I already so strong? Ryosuke Yagami even found it a bit incredible. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 27. Actually, Ryosuke Yagami can be even stronger. For example, his Sharingan is almost ready to open the 3 Megatama. Once the 3 Megatama is activated, his pupil power will reach the kaleidoscope level. There is also his physical fitness. With the blessing of the primary immortal body and 10 times the recovery power, as long as he practices physical skills for a period of time, his physical fitness will definitely skyrocket. At that time, it will be combined with a 10-fold increase in physical fitness. Even with just his taijutsu, Ryosuke Yagami can defeat most Chunin. And, now you have 10 times the learning ability. I believe you can learn a move like the Raise Non quickly. At that time, Yagami Ryosuke can start making various balls. In this way, with the chakra in place, Ryosuke Yagami is enough to reach cage level lethality in a short time. Certainly. The lethality is the lethality. If you really fight, if you can't hit anyone, it's useless. But how old is Ryosuke Yagami? He is only 10 years old. If you give him some combat experience for a year or 2, he will be a shadow level powerhouse by then. Moreover, these 2 years as time passes, Yagami Ryosuke's talent entries will not stop there. He will also get more talent entries. At that time, the strength will be with the blessing of these entries. I'm afraid it's far more than just an ordinary shadow level, at least he's also a top expert in the shadow level, right? Thinking of this, Ryosuke Yagami couldn't help but look forward to the future. Shikamaru had previously asked him what he thought about the future. In fact, Ryosuke Yagami wants to say that the future has already been in his hands. Whether it's dominating the world or saving the world. It was all just a thought from Yagami Ryosuke. Tomorrow is the weekend. Should we go to the river to play ninja games? Sasuke, do you want to come together tomorrow? Get out of here. Sakura, can I go and play with you tomorrow? Come on, Naruto. The 3 classes in the afternoon are over and the ninja school is out. Because tomorrow is the weekend and the day after tomorrow is the weekend, the ninja school is closed, so everyone is packing their things while discussing how to play on the weekend. Haruno Sakura just planned to invite Sasuke, but Sasuke was he impatiently scolded go away, which made Sakura feel very hurt. But at this time, Naruto came up to him without knowing what was going on, and naturally he was scolded by Sakura. Naruto is too much of a licker. Ryosuke Yagami couldn't help but shook his head when he saw this scene. However, this is probably one of Naruto's few hobbies. Pranks and pursuing Sakura. Ryosuke, do you have any plans for the weekend? Naruto, who was injured on Sakura's side, could only run to seek comfort from his friends. On the weekend, practice. Ryosuke Yagami thought for a while and said. He planned to take advantage of the weekend to exercise. After all, with a junior immortal body and 10 times the recovery power, wouldn't it be too wasteful to not exercise? As for ninjutsu, yes, leave it to the shadow clones. Ryosuke Yagami can now stably separate 5 shadow clones. Practice. The expression on Naruto's face was praising. He hates training the most. It's not that Naruto is lazy. It's his poor chakra control ability that makes him unable to see any progress no matter how he practices. Over time, Naruto, I gave up completely. Just give it up? Seeing Naruto's lack of interest, Ryosuke Yagami thought about it and decided to persuade Naruto. Otherwise, after graduating from the ninja school in 2 years, Naruto is the one who only knows one shadow clone technique. When in danger, he can only rely on the Nine Tails chakra in his body to explode. Although he will meet Jiraiya later during the Chunin exam and learn to control it. The huge chakra in his body. But if the foundation can be laid in advance, it will definitely be helpful in the future. Naruto is not bad. Ryosuke Yagami also wants to help him. Within the scope of his ability. Naruto, I am telling you some things as a friend. If you continue to do pranks and stuff like this all day long, I'm afraid you won't be able to graduate from the ninja school in 2 years. Of course Yagami Ryosuke knows that Naruto can graduate successfully, but now he wants to persuade Naruto to practice hard. Of course he will not tell him directly that you can graduate, so just show off as much as you like. You know, there is a guy named Rock Lee in the 5th grade class 1 grade above us. Like you, he can't learn the 3-body technique. He's even worse than you. He can't even use it. But he has been practicing physical skills, and he works harder than anyone I have ever seen. Ninjas like Rock Lee are still working hard to improve themselves and fight for their ninja dreams. Naruto, your situation is at least better than him, so why not practice hard? Don't you want everyone to recognize you? But if you just play pranks all day long, it won't have any other effect except making everyone hate you more. Yagami Ryosuke's words can be said to be true words from the bottom of his heart. He really doesn't want Naruto to continue to waste time like this. There are still 2 years before the plot really begins. If in these 2 years, if people can practice hard and spend their time practicing pranks, at least at the beginning of the plot, he will be much stronger than he is now. As for whether doing this will change the plot, to be honest, Ryosuke Yagami has no idea at all. Worry about these. His strength is the confidence for him to do this. If a strong man is always timid and does not dare to do this or that, then why does he need this powerful strength? The reason why a strong man is a strong man, not only because he has strong strength. At the same time, he must also have the will to move forward and not be afraid of difficulties and obstacles. Ryosuke Yagami dare not say that he already possesses these. But he will at least work hard in this direction. Can live another life. He doesn't want to live like a useless person, living in fear. Naruto in front of him lowered his head. I don't know if he was hit by Yagami Ryosuke's words. Just when Yagami Ryosuke wanted to comfort him when he said a few words and felt that he might have been a little too hasty. Naruto suddenly raised his head with a face full of blood, stepped on the stool next to him with one foot and shouted loudly, "It's decided. From today on, I, Uzumaki Naruto, will practice hard." Ryosuke, you are right. I used to waste my time on pranks, but I never thought about working hard to make changes and relying on my own strength to change everything. I understand now, Ryosuke, what you said is absolutely right. Just watch, I will definitely impress you in the future. Naruto looked excited. Ryosuke Yagamai. No, are my words so contagious? Etc. Could it be? The effect of the entry King of Mouth Escape. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 28. The King of Mouth Escape is 30 times more convincing than the talent entry. Yagamai Ryosuke had never had any deep feelings before. But at this moment, looking at Naruto, who was completely convinced by his mouth escape and vowed to practice hard and change his life, Ryosuke Yagamai realized for the first time the horror of this talent entry. So, I can also talk to others in the future. Ryosuke Yagamai thought. Of course. Although a 30-fold increase is terrifying. But if the other party does not agree with what you say from the bottom of his heart, then even a 100-fold increase is useless. The reason why Naruto does this is actually related to the fact that he agrees with some of Yagamai Ryosuke's views. But without 30 times the persuasiveness, Naruto will only think that what Yagamai Ryosuke said is right, but he will think that he can't do it. 2. So he would not put it into action. But now, with 30 times the persuasion, Naruto was directly convinced. And this influence will be rooted deep in his heart. For a long time, Naruto everyone will be affected by Yagamai Ryosuke's words today. The King of Mouth Escape is really terrifying. Naruto, why is he crazy? Ino came over at this time, glanced curiously at Naruto, who hurried out of the classroom, and asked Yagamai Ryosuke. It's nothing, he just decided not to play pranks anymore and to practice hard. Ryosuke Yagamai said. No more pranks? Practice hard? Naruto. Ino smiled and shook his head with a look of disbelief. That's Naruto. From the first day of school at the age of 6, for 4 years, he was either playing pranks or on the way to pranks. This guy can suddenly change his mind. 6. Ino doesn't believe it. Ryosuke Yagamai also knows that Ino doesn't believe it. But time will tell everything. Not to mention Naruto, Ino obviously didn't care much about Naruto's affairs. She blinked at Yagamai Ryosuke and said, Ryosuke, do you want to go for a picnic together on the weekend? Shikamaru and the others also want to go together. Behind him, Shikamaru was speechless. He obviously planned to stay at home and play chess on the weekend to relax. But Ino insisted on pulling him and said he wanted to have a picnic. The relationship was to invite Ryosuke Yagamai, so use that as an excuse to pull him over. Women are such trouble. Shikamaru rolled his eyes, feeling heartbroken for the weekend he was about to lose. It's a picnic, so why not put it on Sunday afternoon? I have to practice at other times and I don't have time. Ryosuke Yagamai thought about it and felt that it is necessary to relax after practicing, so as to combine work and rest. However, training matters should still be put first. Ryosuke, you are already stronger than Uchiha Sasuke, do you still have to work so hard? Ino was a little disappointed. In fact, the picnic was not her purpose. The purpose was to spend the weekend with Ryosuke Yagamai. What a pity. Ryosuke Yagamai has to practice and has no time to accompany her. This is not enough. Ryosuke Yagamai shook his head and said. Shikamaru behind him was in a very good mood at this time. Because the weekend he just thought he was going to lose has now been lost again. Ryosuke is such a good guy. Shikamaru chuckled inwardly. Well, then Sunday afternoon. Ino had no choice but to accept the result. Today is Saturday and ninja school is on holiday. Ryosuke Yagamai got up at around 6 a.m., washed up, had breakfast, and went out. Konoha Training Ground Number 4. A river. Yagamai Ryosuke formed a seal with his hands to separate 5 shadow clones, and then asked them to practice ninjutsu, develop Rasengan and chakra control, and then came to a big tree alone. Let's start with 1000 push UPS. Ryosuke Yagamai himself also started training today. His purpose is to improve his physical fitness and enhance his taijutsu ability. As we all know, most of the taijutsu ninjas in the Naruto world also rely on chakra to achieve combat effectiveness. However, this does not mean that the physical fitness of taijutsu ninjas is not good. In fact, the physical fitness of taijutsu ninjas is much stronger than that of ninjutsu or genjutsu type ninjas. Although it is far from comparable to the monsters in the pirate world next door. But at least it is far superior to ordinary people. And Yagami Ryusuke has unique innate conditions in this regard. First of all, he is a junior immortal body. This makes his cell vitality far beyond ordinary people. He can recover from injuries faster and his physical strength can be replenished faster. Secondly, Azura's Mercy. This talent entry also gave Yagami Ryusuke 10 times the recovery ability. This recovery ability is the recovery power of the body. The primary immortal body itself is already excellent. Another tenfold bonus. That's just like a monster. 1,000 push UPS, Yagami Ryusuke felt it was easy to complete it. Easier than imagined. So Ryusuke Yagami planned to increase the difficulty for himself. Since 1,000 push UPS are easy, just increase it to 3,000. With Ryusuke Yagami's 10-year-old physical fitness, if he wants to complete 3,000 push UPS, no matter how good the recovery power is, it will still be very strenuous. Especially as you get to the back, it becomes more strenuous. At the first 2,000, Ryusuke Yagami felt quite relaxed. But when he reached the 2,500, he felt a little weak. When he stood up, it was already a bit strenuous and not as easy as before. And when he reached 2,800, Yagami Ryusuke felt that his arms would not be able to support his body in the next second. But he still gritted his teeth and persisted. He finished the last 200 push UPS. When all 3,000 push UPS were finished, Yagami Ryusuke also lay directly on the ground, breathing heavily. After resting for several minutes, he felt a little better. It's so tiring, but it's also fun. Ryusuke Yagami couldn't help but grin. This was probably pain and happiness. After resting for a while, Ryusuke Yagami got up again and continued to perform frog leap training. 3,000 frog jumps. Yagami Ryusuke felt that his legs were almost numb. When he was done, he lay on the ground again. He was tired and rested for 2 or 3 minutes before he stood up again and walked slowly in a small area to regain his strength. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 29. One morning, Ryusuke Yagami was exercising in the woods by the river. He didn't practice those physical skills. Those are just attack techniques and routines. He had already learned it after copying it with his Sharingan. The most you can do is let the shadow clone practice it and become familiar with it. What is really important is physical improvement. A morning of training from hell. Ryusuke Yagami also experienced the hardships faced by taijutsu ninjas like Rock Lee, but with his strong recovery ability, Ryusuke Yagami managed to survive. In contrast, Rock Lee and Metkai, who did not have the unique physical conditions of Ryusuke Yagami, were really struggling. Compared with them, Ryusuke Yagami is actually not that able to endure hardships. However, a morning of hard practice still paid off. At least Yagami Ryusuke felt that his physique had improved a lot. After all, his original foundation was too poor. If it weren't for 10 times the physical strength, he wouldn't be able to complete such high-intensity training. Is this considered a bug? Ryusuke Yagami thought to himself as he walked on the road. During training, because he has a tenfold physical fitness bonus, he can complete training difficulties that he could not complete originally. But in fact, his foundation is very poor. Therefore, under high-intensity training, These feedbacks directly act on Yagami Ryuzyuk's pore foundation, and the effect is particularly good. So much so that just one morning of exercise gave Yagami Ryuzyuk a kind of physical fitness. Not a little strengthened feeling. No matter what, as long as it works. Ryusuke Yagami thought with a smile, and then left the number 4 training ground. It was noon. He planned to have lunch and then come back to continue training. Go to Ichiraku Ramen, I don't think I've ever been there. As a famous attraction in Konoha village, Ichiraku Ramen. Ryusuke Yagami has never tasted the craftsmanship of the hand-beating uncle. I wonder if it is as delicious as the legend. Ichiraku Ramen House. Yagami Ryuzyuk opened the curtain at the door and came in. As soon as I walked in, I saw Kakashi with white hair sitting in the front seat, holding a certain bad book and waiting for the ramen. Hey, take Kakashi. Yagami Ryusuke's eyes flashed, and he followed the calm expression and sat down. Uncle, I want a big bowl of tonkotsu ramen. Ryusuke Yagami shouted. Come, guest, please wait. The hand-beating boss who was busy at work responded, and next to him was his daughter Iris. From time to time, his eyes would glance at Kakashi who was sitting there reading a book. Ryusuke Yagami noticed this and turned his head to look. Kakashi looked at Kakashi who was reading seriously next to him. Something's wrong. Although Kakashi is reading a book, as a ninja, he is still very alert to the surrounding environment. The slightest disturbance cannot be hidden from him. Whether it is Icarus peeking at him from time to time, or sitting down next to him just now. He even noticed this little brat. Did you dye your hair on purpose? Ryusuke Yagami pointed at Kakashi's white hair and asked innocently. No, innate. Kakashi responded coldly. I don't believe it, it looks like a wig. Ryusuke Yagami stood up and wanted to touch Kakashi's hair. However, Kakashi blocked it with his hand. Damn, this is real hair. Kakashi stared at the kid in front of him with dead eyes. The kid now is really unlikable. He thought to himself. Failed. Ryusuke Yagami felt a little disappointed. He originally wanted to pull out one of Kakashi's hairs as an excuse. But he didn't have much hope. After all, as an elite jonin, even if Kakashi is a normal guy, he looks like he has a weak kidney, but the strength of the elite jounin is real, no joke. Cut. Blame uncle. Ryusuke Yagami took his hand back and murmured something in a low voice. The corners of Kakashi's eyes twitched a few times. He complained in his heart that you are the weird kid. Also, I am only in my 20s, you want to call me brother, you bastard. Guest, your miso ramen is ready. At this time, Icarus also came over with a large bowl of ramen and placed it in front of Kakashi. Thanks. Kakashi put away the little yellow book in his hand and picked up the chopsticks next to him. Guests, please use it slowly. Icarus said with a smile. But he had no intention of leaving. Kakashi didn't care. He picked up a chopstick and picked up a piece of ramen. Then he moved so fast that no one could see clearly and put the ramen into his mouth. And also put on the mask again. Calamus. Ryusuke Yagami. I knew it. Yagami Ryusuke mentally rolled his eyes. Kakashi, because of his beauty spot, doesn't want others to see his face. Even when eating, he will put food into his mouth with the speed of an elite jounin. So fast that you can't see clearly even if you stare carefully. Calamus, come and help. Uncle Handbeat shouted. Coming. Not being able to see Kakashi's face, the somewhat disappointed Icarus could only turn around and go back to help. Kakashi continued to eat the bowl of miso ramen in front of him in his own unique way. Ryusuke Yagami stared at him. I looked at it, but after a while I felt it was boring, so I looked away. Boss, please have 4 bowls of soy sauce ramen. Hey. Kakashi, you are eating ramen here too. 2 more customers came to the Ichiraku ramen shop. One big and one small, wearing the same clothes and even having the same hairstyle. Yagami Ryosuke looked back, his expression suddenly stiffened, and then he turned his head silently went back. It's this strange pair of master and apprentice, he said in his heart. The people who came were none other than Metkai and Rock Lee, a pair of strange masters and apprentices in Konoha. Rock Lee had already become a master of Metkai before he graduated. He was different from Hyaganiji and Tenten. Unable to use ninjutsu, he could only practice taijutsu. Because of his perseverance, Metkai admired him, so while he was still studying in the ninja school, he was already practicing taijutsu with Rock Lee. However, Ryosuke Yagami strongly suspected that Metkai accepted Rock Lee early because his appearance was too similar to his own. Of course, Rock Lee did work hard, there is no doubt about it. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 30. It's a Kai. Kakashi turned around and said hello, and then continued to eat noodles by himself. Metkai didn't care about Kakashi's cold attitude. He had long been used to it and knew that his old friend had this kind of character. But Rock Lee has been staring at Ryosuke Yagami. I don't know what it means. Are you Ryosuke Yagami, a fourth grader? Suddenly, Xiao Li came over and looked at Yagami Ryosuke and said, Yes, it's me. Ryosuke Yagami didn't expect that Rock Lee would recognize him. He was obviously not in the same grade. Xiao Li, is this your classmate? Metkai looked at Yagami Ryosuke. As a taijutsu master, he quickly discovered that Yagami Ryosuke had traces of practicing taijutsu on his body. Teacher, he is a fourth grader 1 grade below me. Rock Lee replied and explained, but he defeated Sasuke Uchiha, the top student in his class, 2 days ago. And he used to be a jack of all trades. Woohoo! This is so inspiring. As he spoke, Rock Lee suddenly started crying inexplicably. The corners of Yagami Ryosuke's mouth twitched. He subconsciously moved to the side. Xiao Li, this is youth. Metkai didn't care at all about the crying Rock Lee. Instead, he put a hand on his head, showing his big white teeth and said youth is not allowed to give up. As long as you persist, youth will reward you. Juvenile. I have seen your youth. Metkai suddenly said something to Yagami Ryosuke and gave him a thumbs up. Ah, this. Yagami Ryosuke felt so embarrassed. Fortunately, there was no one in the ramen shop at the moment. Otherwise, he would take the opportunity to slip away. That, actually, is nothing. Ryosuke. Yagami said awkwardly. Did this kid defeat the descendant of the Uchiha clan? Kakashi, who was still eating noodles just now, also looked at Yagami Ryosuke seriously at this time, with a somewhat emotional look in his eyes. Probably, this reminded him of his former good friend, Uchiha Obito. Bar. Juvenile. Do you want to have a race of youth with me? Metkai suddenly became interested in Yagami Ryosuke, a hard-working ninja who counterattacked the chief student, and he was worthy of his interest. No, I still want to eat noodles. Ryosuke Yagami rejected Metkai's invitation without hesitation. Trying to race with you? Then do I have to wear the same clothes as you? Just slip away. I can't afford to offend you. Seeing Yagami Ryosuke refused, and Metkai was not disappointed. He just invited him casually. After all, he had not seen Yagami Ryosuke's passion for physical arts like Rock Lee. What if the other person's talent is in endurance? In terms of technique, wouldn't he be trying to mislead others? At this time, Yagami Ryosuke's ramen was also ready. Iris brought it to him. Guest, please use your ramen slowly. Akira smiled at Ryosuke Yagami, and then glanced at master and disciple Metkai over there, the corners of his eyes twitching slightly. Sure enough. Most people can't stand the relationship between this strange pair of masters and disciples. Uncle, have another bowl. Although the taste of Ichiraku ramen is not as delicious as the legend says, the ingredients are indeed very real and the taste is quite good. Ryosuke Yagamai, who has been exercising all morning, is also very hungry. At this time, he has eaten a big bowl of ramen. I felt like I was only 3/3 full after eating, so I ordered another bowl. Xiao Li, did you see it? Even an outstanding junior like you has finished the first bowl, so we can't fall behind. Mate Kai grabbed the chopsticks and quickly ate up the food in front of him. Rock Lee looked at the soy sauce ramen in front of him, his face fell and he said, "But teacher, I don't have that much money." "It's okay, the teacher is treating me today." Mate Kai generously took out a wad of money and slapped it on the table. "Xiao Li, feel free to eat as much as you can." "Teacher Kai." Xiao Li. Seeing that this strange pair of master and apprentice were about to play tricks again, Kakashi on the side quickly finished the last bite of noodles, then took out 60 taels and put them on the table. "Akai, I'll leave first, you eat slowly." Kakashi waved his hand and quickly left the ramen shop. "You are worthy of being my lifelong rival, Kakashi." Mate Kai wiped his tears and nose while eating big mouthfuls of noodles. He finished a large bowl of soy sauce ramen in 3 or 4 bites. It's a shame that he ate the noodles so fast. It wasn't too hot. Mouth. Yagamai Ryosuke complained in his mind, and then watched Mate Kai order another bowl of miso ramen. Half an hour later. "I'm stuffed." Mate Kai put down his chopsticks. At this time, a large pile of ramen bowls had been piled up next to him. A total of 12 bowls. He is indeed a master of physical skills in Konoha, and his appetite is good. Unlike Kakashi, "One bowl I'm full." "I'm full too." Rock Lee, who was following closely behind, also put down his chopsticks. Although he didn't eat as much as Mate Kai, he still finished 5 bowls of ramen. This appetite is several times more exaggerated than that of a normal adult. You know, Rock Lee is just 11 years old. In contrast, Ryosuke Yagamai was still eating his second bowl of tonkotsu ramen in a very slow and orderly manner. He didn't look like he wanted to compete with them for speed. "Young man, you must continue to work hard in the future." Mate Kai took out enough money to pay for the ramen and put it on the table. Before leaving, he said hello to Yagamai Ryosuke, and then left the ramen restaurant with Rock Lee. Finally left. Ryosuke Yagamai watched them all leave, and then he finished the last bit of ramen in the bowl. He could have finished it long ago, but he slowed down just to wait for Mate Kai and his disciples to leave. At several times the speed, the ramen was almost cold. After eating a few bites, Yagamai Ryosuke put 120 taels on the table, then reached out and touched the spot where Kakashi was just now, and picked up a silver white hair. Even so, even if he is an elite jonin, he cannot avoid normal physiological metabolism. Hair loss is also normal. Then, Ryosuke Yagamai went over and picked up a few black hairs. He didn't know which of these black hairs belonged to Mate Kai and which one. It belongs to Rock Lee. It must belong to both of them anyway, so Yagamai Ryosuke put it all into the biopheromone warehouse and kept it for later use.